Okay, though. So here we are in TN models, and I wanted to do like a complete blow up or of the types. Actually, not the types themselves, but rather the hellish um, amount of what are they called overloads that we have. These overloads are ensuring that um, users get like good types as they use different versions of the parameters that they can use. So my idea is actually to condense all these into a single object. Right now we have a couple of parameters which I think that this approach was taken because TypeScript back in the days didn't have support for what we wanted to do for the inference that we needed for this type of stuff to work. So now we have TypeScript 5.0, so I'm probably gonna bump this. Um, so I have all the tests passing. Um, let's do an I TypeScript latest. I would like this to be dash D. And let's see what happens. I should have fixed that so that it's easier for us. Let's see, TypeScript, let's do dash E so that we remove that stuff. Did it work? No. Okay, whatever. So we do have TypeScript 5.33, so that's the latest. Maybe, what is this? Okay, so let's see if that didn't break anything. tslen. What do we have in our scripts? We do have length. Good. So that didn't break our app, our library, so that should be good to go. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna alias then this later in when I do it, and I'm gonna move it to tests, and I'm hopefully that's gonna break initially, but we're gonna go and start fixing it. This is gonna be like kind of a long run, and this library is a mess. In terms of TypeScript, this usually happens, but well, this kind of escalated. Let's see. So I have a lot of utils that I might be better off if I move them. And all the overloads are on the bottom, which is good. Okay, so we have T models. T models. So if we actually start like sketching this at some point, we know we do need. Actually, models is optional. Let's start with the easiest one, which would be if we don't want to have models. What's the most basic type that we can pass to TN models? So I think not this one. Create API. So we have all of them have T models, right? Except for why do they all have T models? I thought there was like a chance of this not having models at all. Hmm. Okay, well, I'm gonna check one thing. It's optional, so they're always there, right? So models are always an optional thing to have, but if we're gonna do unions, we might as well just not include it, so that it's easier for us. So if we don't include models, what's the other way of using this? We don't include models. We know that base URI and client are the required ones. So let's just do that. Base URI. This is going to be a string, and client is going to be Axios like, I guess. Actually, don't remember whether that was um, these params. We have read-only base URI, client, access instance, and that would be like. I'll move all the documentation as soon as this proves to be useful. So that's gonna be like the first parameter that we may have. I think I may one inference here, so maybe I just rather than doing this, so I'll just do targs extends. I'll just probably just bring this and call this targs. I think it has to be like that. So here's where the or stuff happens. Trying to think. Yeah, I'll have to do like the inference within the within the method later, and probably I'll need like a type util for me to actually even infer the resulting uh, type of the API um, API object. So we should continue building this. So I think this is base, right? So probably we don't need to do this as an or. Instead, we could go for and. Um, Actually, all the or is gonna be and that, right? So we're gonna do an or here. It's gonna be models, and we may actually have bifurcation here as well, right? Because models could include create. Well, create can be optional. Um, we don't know what this is, right? So I'm just gonna put unknown until I kind of entity. That could be a thing. If you're passing models, you definitely are passing entities. Otherwise, just don't pass models, because create kind of uses my entity to be returned. So let's put unknown. We'll need to infer this at some point. So probably I'll have to add more type params. Um, but this is gonna be hmm. Yeah, if I want to infer this stuff, I don't know if I want to do this. It's gonna wreck me at some point. Typescript. Um, yeah, I can base myself on previous types. So there's the check models. This is a nice utility that I have. Models is gonna be base models placeholder. This is yeah. I have like the different shapes. I don't know how good these utils are. They create a lot of. I mean, I think they do very good job. They do a very good job for UX, um, so that people get like the right amount of feedback from the library when they do something wrong. And but it's like feels so complicated. So checking on the entity, if we have an entity, we can have like the entity model and the extra filters. Or as well, we can include the create if we wanted to. The create is just, I think this is just the create API thing. Extends auto shape. Is auto shape. Da, da, da. So how can I infer? So actually, I need to infer everything. So probably these, I need to set inference sites for this. Hmm. So I think models might be a good inference site. Um, so let's roll back. We know that. Oh my God! I just need. Let's roll this back and come back here. Um, fuck. Oh my god, I'm just like fighting over the clipboard. Am I missing one parenthesis? Yeah, because I missed one here. Okay, so actually I want multiple things to be inferred here. One of them is T models, I guess. We don't know. Um, we can just allow this to be inferred. So if we do that, that should be fine. Um, we could do some extra checks on the models, but I'll just leave it as is right now, so it's more free to do stuff. So models is one of the things that I want to catch, because that'll determine. Actually, if models exist, I could go deeper, right? I could just go into entity and say T entity, and I could go into create, which I don't know if it exists, and T create. I definitely know that T entity should be Z's auto shape, and then we'll have T create, which extends as well Z's auto shape. So those are two inference sites that I know that they exist. Um, what should we continue with? So models is a chance. There's also the um, filters. I don't know if defaulting these two never would do a good thing, so I'm just gonna skip that for the time being. Um, oh god, I shouldn't have done that. Let's just go for. Yeah, I don't want to make a mess. Yeah, this is the implementation, so we can just keep it. Hello, there we go. And then we have. This is sort of like a concise way of doing it, but it has like too many things. Built-in filters, filter shape. A record. That's nice. So what about the extra filters? It's just extra filters, the extra filters. Sort of shape of extra filters, if any. I'll put more restrictions on the filters later, but for the time being, I think we just should be fine with just Zoro shape. Did I copy this or no? Um, so this is what we have, and actually I may not need to do many unions here. Uh, okay, we have models. What is it we have as params? It's just models, right? Models can have these three things: entity, create, and extra filters for the time being. What's also interesting in here is like this second parameter that before it was a second parameter, but I don't want that to be a second parameter. Actually, I want it to be a um, I want it to be a just another field in the object, in the input object, in these args that we have here. So I just don't want to have another parameter. It's just too, it's terrible to show when you do create API. If we see here, actually not here, create custom calls. Whenever you do this, um, it's very weird to have this declared like this. Why can't we just put like the callbacks here and custom calls there and just be done with it? There was another idea, I think, to add the custom calls directly in the base object, but I think that would be like way too messy because it would be weird having that in the base. I don't know. Maybe could um, be a good idea. Yeah, I'm not convinced. So we said that we had like this other, the custom service calls. This inference is insane. I think this is like one of the things that most time took for me to actually to get right. Mm. The thing is that we are like creating the custom service calls, like creating like a standard object of a custom service call, but then we need to like infer all the camel case, snake case, whatever stuff is going on in there, so that people can create their own custom service calls and use them uh, as to their will. Um, so this inference is kind of like chaotic, uh, and I don't know how I'm gonna translate here to this new uh, way of doing things. I am tempted to do something like this: custom custom calls. Custom calls then has to be um, trying to think. A record of string custom service call plus holder. So why do we have? Okay, we need to infer this, right? That's why it's here. Let's see what happens if we do something like this. What is it? Ah, yeah, I'm missing one thing. Okay. Hmm. Custom. Yeah, let's just call it to do this so that it just stops complaining. Not an and, it's just nor. The thing is the custom service. Yeah, the custom service calls actually don't have anything to do with the other parameters. It's just something independent. So why was I having issues with in this case? Okay, in this case we don't have models, right? It's just doing base and custom service calls. But when we do have models, hmm. Okay, and what my headset went off. And what does this return? Just gonna be bare API service with T-models. I think T-models is like the full-fledged stuff, right? What is bare API service for you? I think this has like the create and base API calls, and these are all the base API calls. I kind of like this way of doing it because I separated every single one of them, and I actually even checked for inference here. So that's, I think this is not bad. Could probably reuse this. Hmm. broke everything. Okay, I'm gonna stop now.